right, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am trying out, ooh, don't touch it. I'm trying this microphone out for the first time today. I'm going to be making something. You can call it Greek salad or you can call it Italian salad. I've heard mixed reviews about what people call it, but in our house we call it Greek salad. It might not be accurate to the definition of Greek salad, but that's just what we call it. It's great for summertime. It's a nice cold food. I'm really sweaty and hot right now because I just came in from the garden. What you're gonna need: cherry tomatoes, 10 ounces, a cucumber, some feta cheese. I'm not sure how many ounces this is. 8 ounces feta cheese, a can of black olives, or if you have fresh olives. I don't live in a place that has fresh olives. 6 ounces of black olives, red wine vinegar, olive oil, oregano, and your favorite type of pasta. I'm using Banza pasta because I can't have gluten, so I'm doing some chickpea pasta. And I am doing a double recipe, so there's that. Now, aside from the food ingredients, you need a large bowl to mix everything in, a liquid measuring cup, a tablespoon measurement, a pot to boil your pasta, potato peeler and a knife, and a cutting board. All right, right now, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up with water and get my pasta going. I am doing a double batch, so 16 ounces of pasta. I'm gonna go for a boil. The pasta is on the stove, and I went ahead and washed these cherry tomatoes. Got these cucumbers all ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and peel these cucumbers because I like to give the skins to my chickens. Boy, it's always easier to do this when there's not a camera on. And I feel like as soon as the camera comes on, I overthink everything. I'm like, oh no, did I not do that slice right? Does it make me look like I don't know what I'm doing? Everybody starts somewhere, so if you feel like it looks like you don't know what you're doing, don't feel bad about that, because everybody has had a first time doing something. Like, you might not remember your first time peeling a cucumber or peeling a potato, but it probably went worse than how you're doing now, so don't sweat it. That's probably me just giving myself advice, but now typically with this recipe, you would just use 1 cucumber. But I am doubling the batch because we go through this stuff like crazy. I'm also curious how this all sounds on the microphone. Alrighty, now that we have our cucumbers all peeled, I usually start by cutting it in half so it's easier to control. After they're cut in half this way, I like to cut them in half this way. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's food. You're gonna eat it. All right, at this point, they've all been... Okay, now I should probably get these out of the way so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm gonna slice it this way. I'm just gonna go ahead and slice these about as thick as, you know, a finger. You can do it thicker or thinner, depending on your preference. I personally don't mind if they're too thick, but I tend to mind if they're too thin. And there we go. We've got our 2 cucumbers all chopped up into chunks. All right, now we're moving on to the tomatoes. And the only thing you're gonna do with these guys is just cut them in half. If you happen to find like a really big one, I don't know if that counts as a big one. If they're a little bit bigger than you'd like when they're cut in half, then you can cut them into thirds. I don't mind, you know, how big they are when they're just cut in half. So I'll just cut this one in half. Bing. That's how big it's gonna be. This one, you might think, oh, half of this is gonna be too big. It's gonna take up my whole fork or spoon. You can either cut them 3 ways like this, or you can do it how I do it is I'll just cut off this little nub on the end, and then I'll turn it like this and I'll cut it like this. That's what I like to do. That's just my preference. You can do it however you like. And you might think this is tedious, but it's worth it. And if you don't want to cut them, heck, you can just toss them in whole. I'm gonna go stir that pasta, take a little break from my tomatoes. We're about 2 minutes away from the pasta being ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain the pasta and then rinse it. In this case, the banza can get kind of gooey, kind of slimy if you don't rinse it off. So I'm going to rinse it off and then yeah, I'll just come back over here and continue with these tomatoes. All right, and our pasta over here, cooling down to room temperature because this is a cold meal, but I'm just gonna move forward. All right, we are all done with our tomatoes. Go ahead and give that a quick little mix around with the cucumbers so you can see the ratio there. Pretty good, huh? Now let's move to olives. You can just toss the olives in, or you can cut them. Keep your fingers clear. Alrighty. Oh no, feta. There we go. Choppy chop, choppy chop. Now we'll go ahead and combine the pasta with the rest of our ingredients. Now before we get it all mixed in good, we need to add in our sauce. The single batch recipe is a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1½ tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of oregano. And we'll start with, there's our 1/4 cup. So for a single batch recipe, you can just do a 1/4 cup. But for the double batch, I'm gonna go just under half. Now we'll go ahead and do our 2 tablespoons of oregano. I should be doing this over another container. That's best practice. There's our 1. There's our 2. Single batch, you want to do 1½ tablespoons, but a double batch will do 3 heaping, so about 3½ tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, and I'm just gonna eyeball about half of that. Just kind of mix it. It's not gonna mix really because it's oil. Oil and water don't mix. Just kind of get them combined, especially with that oregano on there. My favorite part, the end. Just gonna go ahead and pour this all over. Mix it around in between, or you can pour it all at once. With the single batch, I usually just pour it all at once, but the double batch is so much in volume that I don't want the oregano to only get stuck at the surface and not be fully mixed in with the rest. We're just gonna mix this until we're satisfied with how they're combined. I am pretty satisfied with how this is combined. This is our Greek salad. And before we eat it, I'm just gonna plop it in the fridge for 30 minutes to an hour. Get it nice and cold for those hot summer days. Pop that lid on. Toss it in the fridge, and you're done. Now all these ingredients that did not get used or eaten are going to the chickens. So I have some delicious treats. Thanks for watching my video. It's the first time I've done a mic'd up talking about what I'm doing rather than doing a voiceover, that sort of thing. So yeah, first time trying out this mic. We'll see how it goes. If you like this shirt, go on Instagram and shoot a message over to XL Media Products. Like and subscribe.